What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Who Even Asked. As always, I'm Tay.
I'm Jazz.
And this week, to kick off October, we wanted to dive into some spooky stories. And we have some listener submissions that we want to get into. And we're just going to go ahead and dive right in because there's a lot to cover.
Yeah, I think today we're mostly, a lot of these stories have to do with like paranormal and like one even has to do with an exorcism. Uh-huh. Yeah. And some sleep paralysis and some creepy stuff, which I love to hear about. I don't know about you.
Yeah, which we've obviously talked about a lot already on this podcast. Yeah, we love all spooky things. So for the next month, just prepare to be sick of us.
Yeah. I do, like I told you, one episode I want to dress up, so maybe you guys will see that as well.
Yeah, so if you have any costume recommendations for us, drop them in the comments.
Yeah, so did you want to... Actually, you know what? Before we get to the stories, I did kind of want to, just so everybody knows what exactly sleep paralysis is compared to like lucid dreaming. I have like a little snippet about it. So basically, sleep paralysis is when your body is still in REM sleep, but the mind is awake. And your body is briefly paralyzed, so it can't move, speak, just to prevent you acting out your dreams. Mm-hmm. So that's what sleep paralysis is, and that usually lasts a couple minutes or seconds.
Right.
But lucid dreaming, which also occurs in REM sleep, is the ability to become aware that you're dreaming while you're still in the dream. So you can like manipulate things, you can like talk, you're like very aware in your dream, you can control elements of the dream, characters, you can just like almost like being in a real life video game or like VR. Okay. It's kind of crazy.
Have you experienced either of these?
Yes.
Like both or
both? Yeah.
And is that part of what we're going to dive into today? Is some of your stories?
Yeah, we could probably, you know what, we can start off with mine, I guess.
Before we start off, okay. I felt like I had a question. I already forgot my question though. I think all I was going to say was I think I've had sleep paralysis like maybe once or twice, but I don't remember it like super well. But I feel like I had like lucid dreams, but I can never change like what's going on in the dream. I'll just know like if something's happening, I'm like, wait, that's not right. And like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know why I'm doing this in said dream. Something along those lines. But I heard this TikTok one time and it was really crazy. And it said, if you're dreaming and you're in a lucid dream and you can like change things, you're never supposed to ask like the people in your dream, like what time is it or where am I? You're not supposed to ask like very targeted specific questions. And I've fallen down lots of rabbit holes where I guess some people can do that in their dreams. I just can't. Mm-hmm. I'm not talented enough. I don't know. But the people in their dreams will be like, you're not supposed to ask that, or you're not supposed to do that. You need to wake up. And that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. So people also train themselves to lucid dream. Like people will do that on purpose.
Really?
Yeah. I read about that.
How?
I don't know. It's really crazy because I've never been able to like on cue lucid dream. But also like, I feel like I only lucid dream in scary situations.
Okay.
Yeah. So my last lucid dream, and the thing that scares me the most is when I have a lucid dream where I'm in my actual apartment.
Okay.
Or like where I'm living. Sometimes I'll have lucid dreams that are scary and I will not be in an environment I'm familiar with. So I'm lucid and I can realize it's a dream.
Right.
But it's when I'm lucid dreaming and I'm in my apartment or somewhere I'm familiar with that scares the crap out of me because I can't tell it's a dream or not.
Yeah. Cause it's hard to decipher like, is this real life or not?
Yes.
Those are kind of scary.
My last lucid dream I had this week, and that's part of the reason too. I kind of wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I was in my apartment walking around and I heard like something trying to get in the door. Ooh. And Bruiser was in my dream.
This is like, realistic.
Yeah, it was super realistic. And I was telling it like to leave, to like get out. And like sometimes when I'm lucid drinking,
well,
dreaming, I'll find that most things will be the same in the apartment or like where I'm staying, but I'll find one piece of something that's different and I'll be like, okay, this is a dream.
Okay.
This one, I could not differentiate anything. It was so scary. and this thing kept banging on the door. And so my window is right here. And so I go to the window to try to peek out, and this thing's just looking at me through the window.
Oh.
And when I'm scared in dreams, my go-to is to do the whole exorcism thing where you're like, not the power of Christ compels you, but I will
compels you.
Like, and I'm not even really super religious, but I'll do like the prayer that I learned from like growing up being religious. Okay. And I will just try and hope that like keeps something away. But those lucid dreams are really scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially when they're combined with sleep paralysis.
For sure. Do you think some people argue that our dreams like have meanings or they're trying to tell us something? Do you agree with that?
In a sense, yes. Because I think when you're dreaming, it's all coming from your mind. So there's undertones of realistic things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously, if you're on Mario Planet, you know, jumping from mushroom to mushroom, I don't think that really has much meaning. But I do think sometimes, yes.
See, I feel like most of my dreams are like that. Like, they're just very stupid. They're very silly. Like, they don't make a lot of sense.
My dreams are more cinematic. Like, okay. I feel like they are almost like movies.
Like, you need to keep a dream journal, like, in your bedside table to make a screenplay or something.
Yes, because I'll wake up and, like, when I was in a relationship, I would tell them about my dream. And they would tell me like, oh my gosh, your dreams are literally like movies. Like I have like full storylines in my dreams. It's really weird.
Okay.
Yeah. That's and the crazy. Ones that are not like that, I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember a lot of your dreams or no?
No.
I feel like I don't remember like 95% of my dreams. There'll just be a crazy one here and there that really sticks out.
Yeah. What is one of your craziest dreams?
I'm drawing a blank. I cannot think of any dreams I've had except for this one I had as a kid, and I don't know why it's the only thing that, like, I remember. It was just like, it was in black and white, like a sepia, like old movie timey effect, and it was just this monkey, and he kept eating all my books. I don't know, very, very silly. I don't remember much of my dreams though.
Yeah, I don't. Until the last lucid dream I had this week, I hadn't remembered a dream in a really long time.
I did have a question though, because most of my dreams are like extremely different. They don't happen in like the same place or anything like that. But Jacob always tells me about his dreams. Obviously, when we wake up, we debrief. And he has a repeating dream of this island, and he has it like all the time, and he's had it his whole life, and I don't have anything like that, and that's just insane to me.
I have one like that. Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
So it's in Lubbock, and we're at my old house. And the old house I lived in Lubbock, people would not want to stay there, and this was when I was growing up, super small, because they thought our back room was haunted. Oh. And I mean, you've never seen this house because it was so long ago. And yeah, people would come over and stay and not want to stay in that back room because like multiple people. But anyways, it's at that house, and I'll have this dream where I am small, even to this day. In my dream, I'll be small. I'll get in the car and be driving, but like I can't stop the car. It just keeps going, and it doesn't sound that weird right now, but like to have that same dream your whole life is just, it kind of makes you think like, what about this is like making me keep remembering and dreaming it.
Because it's when I feel like if your dreams are repetitive like that, that's when I think it would make you wonder, like, what message am I supposed to be taking from this if it keeps happening over and over? That's interesting. Or
even like, now that I think about it, that I was saying it out loud, you know how like sometimes people say you bury things that happen to you? It's like, oh my God, what if like something happened to me that I don't remember? And now I'm like, but that's going down a rabbit hole too.
I bury everything. I don't remember anything about my life.
I have really good memory. Like, I'll remember so many things, like, just all the time. People will be like, how did you remember that? And I'm just like, no, I just remember it.
No, I very much push everything down and forget almost everything that happens to me. My sister will tell me stories, and she's like, you remember that? And I'm like, no, I have no clue what you were talking about whatsoever.
Must have been your other sister.
Yeah. But you did bring up a point that I thought was interesting. In that repetitive dream you have, you said that you're always small. I don't feel like in my dreams I ever am like an age. I'm just like a being. Like I can't see myself in my dreams. Like I'm just there. I don't see myself.
So what is that point of view like? Just like first person? I'm bad.
I think so. Like it's all. I think that's right. It's all like first person. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so crazy how everybody's is so different.
Yeah. But I think it would be cool. Like that's dreaming and stuff like that. After I watched, this is going to kind of go with the dreaming thing. That's what I'm saying. Insidious, where they astral projected.
Right.
That really got me thinking about stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, what if I astral project when I sleep? I don't. But like, could you imagine how scary that is?
Imagine taking a class on like how to astral project.
I wonder is that a thing?
I'm sure there's a thing for everything.
That'd be crazy.
Should we take one?
I would take it for fun, but I don't think I'd try it because I'd be too scared. I have such bad anxiety that I'd be like mid doing it and I'd like jump off somewhere I'm not supposed to.
Let me jump off this cliff.
Where's Jazz? Haven't seen her in years. She's stuck in her dream.
And then I had another repeating dream when I was a kid. You know how we have like a regular loop and then we have like the Marsha Sharp loop and it's like super tall.
Yeah.
This isn't like Houston, Dallas big, but it's like big for here. But my car would always go off of that and like I'd wake up before I hit the ground type thing. That's a repeating one. That's like probably the only repeating one I've ever had.
Have you heard those stories about people who, or not people, just everybody, when you're like falling asleep and they say you feel like you're falling and if you like actually fall, you can like actually die or something like that?
Yes, or have you heard people say that you can never die in your dream? Like you always wake up before like you actually die?
I haven't heard, I don't remember if I've heard that part, but I've heard the other part.
I've always heard that, but I feel like I have died in my dreams. I don't feel like that's true.
I don't
and
think
who makes these rules?
Right? Like how do they, like how do you know? Like,
okay, dream master,
right?
Relax.
It's probably the dream catcher.
Wait, wasn't there a movie called The Dream Catcher? Like a scary-ish movie?
I don't know. What about Butterfly Effect? No, that's
different.
That doesn't have anything to do with dreams.
I swear there's like a scary movie called The Dream Catcher, though. This is like a fever dream. I'm going to look this up. I'll drop it in the comments.
If it's a movie, I'll pop it on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's a movie. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
But I don't know. This could be a fever dream thing I just made up.
No, probably
I'm guilty of doing that.
There's so many movies that are like old and buried that you may have watched that just you don't remember.
Yes. Or how like there are kids shows or movies that you'll talk about to like your friends and they are like, what are you talking about? Yeah. I have no clue what that is.
Like Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did you like that? Did you ever watch that? That may have been, I think that was just creeping out when I was a kid, so I don't know if it would be around for you.
Was that like a cartoony one?
No, it was like a actual like, I think if I'm remembering correctly, they would act out these. It'd be like horror minis, I think, like shorts.
Okay.
And then there's like a person around just telling the stories. I think I'm remembering that right. That could be totally wrong. I don't think
I've seen that one. I think I've
that one. That used to scare me.
Okay. Yeah. Were you scared of Coraline? I know a lot of people did not like Coraline as a kid. Were you scared of Coraline?
I never watched it until I was an adult. I don't even like The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Get out of my face. She wants to act like she's some big spooky Halloween lover and hasn't seen the Tim Burton classic.
I've seen them. I just didn't watch most of them until I was older. And that's not because anybody was stopping me. It's just like I never had the desire to watch it.
Jacob has never seen any of them. And I'm going to force y'all to... You've seen them, but I'm going to force him to watch them with me.
I didn't think Coraline was bad. Nightmare Before Christmas, it's all right.
I mean... I don't know. I
was never a cartoon person. Like, anything... I know it's not necessarily a cartoon. I'm not an animated person. Like, I don't like to watch like animated movies. I like everything to have some hint of the truth. That doesn't mean I can't enjoy things, because I can. Okay. But I mostly prefer to watch like real life, true, or like if it's fiction to be not... I don't even know where I was going with that.
No, I can understand that. Do you like the adult like cartoons though? Like the funny ones like Big Mouth or
I do like Big Mouth.
Okay.
What is the other one? Rick and Morty. I watch Rick and Morty. Adventure Time, I watched a couple episodes.
Okay.
Courage the Cowardly Dog. I could do like those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge animated person, but I do enjoy like the adult cartoons. I think those are fun. Okay, but anyways, we just went on this whole tangent about a whole lot of nothing. So we're going to circle back to our spooky topics.
Yeah, so I have 2 stories. I know you have some stories, and then we have a couple audio clips. Mm-hmm. Those audio clips are from my dad.
We're excited.
But one thing about my family is we have a lot of scary history that's happened to us.
This is news to me.
So you'll hear 2 of those stories from my dad, and then we have 2 other people that wrote some stories for us. So,
all right, let's dive in.
First, we have... I'm going to bring my handy-dandy little laptop over here because I'm blind.
Fancy.
Super fancy. So the first story we have is from Blanca. She writes in, I'm no stranger to sleep paralysis, so when it happens, I stay pretty calm. Up until the part where whatever it is waiting starts to make itself known. One particularly memorable episode happened a couple weeks after my husband and I brought our son home. We were lying in bed with our son's bassinet beside us. The room was dimly lit by some string lights we had hanging. I remember opening my eyes to check on our son. Everything was fine, so I laid back down. A few minutes passed and I reopened my eyes. Everything was blurry and I felt super groggy. I could have sworn our daughter was by my side, trying to talk to me. I figured she couldn't sleep for some reason. I had this urge to reach for her hand. She had hers out, trying to grab mine. I ended up falling asleep again, only to wake up later and go to the restroom. When I came back, I saw her bed was empty, and suddenly I remembered she wasn't even home that night. I got chills like never before. It felt like sleep paralysis, but I wasn't afraid. I was comfortable, and it genuinely felt like I was talking to my daughter. A little background about the house we were living in was my husband's grandparents' house, and it is said to be haunted by 2 kids that died in an ATV accident on the land. I feel like the little girl was trying to communicate with me that night. That's a little scary, yeah?
Oh my God.
A little scary. So what would you do if somebody was just, like you woke up and somebody was just by your bed?
How would you know? Because most of the times, like, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, oh, I think I see a man in that corner, and it's like your jacket hanging up or something. So I feel like I'm pretty good about like trying to rationalize things with myself and like talk myself off a cliff. I'd probably be like, oh, that didn't happen. I don't know. I guess you'd have to like be in that situation to know how you would handle that. But that's scary. They give me goosebumps.
Yeah. I would definitely panic first. Like I'm a panic first, and then my brain will kick in and be like, okay, wait, never mind. That's my vacuum.
Yeah. That's my vacuum.
That's actually happened to me twice here. So
it's scary when that happens though, because you're just laying there and you're like,
yeah,
like, what do I do? I don't know.
And then you're just stuck there like, oh, but then, at this point you're an adult and like your blankets aren't going to save you. So you just have to man up, baby.
You have to realize you're the adult in the situation and no one's going to help you out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so that was from Blanca. Thanks, Blanca, for submitting that story. Do you want to go for yours, or do you want me to go ahead and do all mine, and then what do you think?
Go ahead and do yours. Mine's kind of like it's different. So we'll just hear your story first.
Okay. So this next one is from Dan. He says, one time I was cruising around in high school in my car with a friend in rural Michigan. It was dark out. The moonlight was the only light, and we were on a winding dirt road with rocks on both sides, with some big houses on the top of the hills in the distance with faint lights on. It was clear, but also a little foggy. I saw a mother and a child dressed in Victorian clothing, holding hands, rush in front of the car and almost make it to the other side of my car. It happened so quick, I had no time to stop. Even though we weren't going particularly fast, I slammed on the brakes and looked at my friend and asked him, did you see that? He said, yeah, and described the mother and the child wearing the old-timey clothes. We looked out the window behind us, but there was nothing there, just empty, dark road. He says, maybe it was nothing. and he was lying, but kind of weird that he and I could have seen the exact same thing.
No, I believe it, because...
How would he know?
Yeah, how would you know that?
Old-timey clothing they were wearing without talking about it first. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Like, that's crazy. That's why some of these stories, like, I definitely believe these things can happen.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
That... I didn't have this even written down, but that made me think of this scary story I did hear once again on TikTok, my Google. And this girl and her friend were driving down some like back road to drop her friend off, and they both see this girl in the middle of the road, so they, slam on their brakes and everything. And then the girl rushes into a field. And they both were kind of like, what the hell? And so they just keep driving, trying to get their friend home. Well, they keep going down the road, and to get to this friend's house, you basically have to like cross this field, and they keep seeing the figure over and over. I don't know where I was going with the rest of that story. I forgot the ending, but that did remind me of that story. So I believe things like this do happen because it's happened to more than one person. I guess that's where I was going with that.
Definitely, yeah. Me too. Believe all that stuff. That's crazy.
Scary. I know that story was way scarier when I heard it. I just forgot some of the details. So I didn't write it down. So, I don't really have any scary stories to really share. Nothing super scary has ever really happened to me. The duplex that me and Jacob were living in before we bought our first house, there was definitely weird energy there, but it didn't ever feel scary. It felt like the ghost was friendly. Like it didn't feel weird.
Casper?
Yeah, exactly. Very Casper vibes. But there would be doors that would open and close, like unexplained. I've taken pictures of like my dogs before, and like the little orbs in pictures that are supposed to be spirits. I've taken lots of pictures that have had the orbs, and it seemed, I don't know, very specific, and it was always next to my dogs, but never any other time. So you could just tell there was something there, but it didn't feel creepy whatsoever. And then right before we moved out, one of the other people that lived on our street had let us know that not one, but two people had died in our house. But like I said, it was never anything scary. It felt very like friendly. I felt like we were cool. We were chilling. Jacob would always swear that he could hear like a woman talking. Because I remember one day, so our house was set up to where we would always walk in through the garage, and on the other side of the house was like our front door. And one day the garage door was locked, so I walked around and I walked through the front door. And so I walk in, and he's all like freaked out and paranoid, and he's like, were you just in the garage? And I was like, obviously not. Obviously you locked the door and I had to walk all the way around to the front door. So no, I was not in the garage. And he was like so shaken up. He was so scared. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I swear you had just opened the garage door and you said, hey babe. And he like went all the way back to the garage, and then that's when I walked in through the front door, and he was super shaken up. But I never heard the woman's voice, but he swore he could hear the woman's voice all the time. So I don't know if this little ghosty had a crush on my man's or what.
He's trying to take your man.
Girl, back off. So that's really the only thing I could think of scary story-wise, because nothing super weird's ever happened to me. But it made me think of this haunted house that we have in Lubbock.
Here?
Yes. Have you heard of this?
Wow, no, I have not.
So you've probably seen it when you're driving, back into town from Big Spring. When you as soon as you get into Lubbock, like right across from the high school over there, there's that big 2-story red house on the right side of the road, and it is called the Woodrow Manor. It is, I guess people have been known to call it the house with a heartbeat. I don't know exactly why.
Monster house?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know exactly why I was given that name. And I don't know all the specifics. There's a lot to it, but I know there was this vet that lived there at one point, and apparently he lost his license for doing something. I don't know exactly what he lost his license for, but he would perform surgery on these animals in the house after he lost his license. I don't know if they actually needed these surgeries or if he was just manic and
That's crazy.
performing these just for funsies, because I don't know if the house like possessed him or I don't know what exactly was going on.
Jekyll and Hyde situation.
But there's just been like multiple families that have lived in the house that have died, and just a bunch of scary stuff that happens in this house. And to the point where it's been abandoned for like so long. I know this house has been on episodes of Ghost Adventures.
Really?
Yes. So this is legit. I'm not just making this up. But I was talking to one of my friends about it today, and they both went to the high school across from the house. And they say that even their high school, they could feel like weird like energies and stuff sometimes, or they had scary stories, but it would make sense because it's like all right there.
Yeah.
So, one of the girls that I was talking to about it, she said, that in the middle school, they could always hear like a tricycle. I don't know what that means. I don't know if
like
it's
the
like
tink tink maybe?
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know if they're talking about like the wheels or like the
I'm
little.
sorry, but
tink,
when you
tink
said that, all I can think of the Saw guy just riding out of the little tricycle. Tink tink.
Do you want to play a game? But she said you could hear like the tricycle in the hallways. And then, okay, this is a story that they told me from that school. And she said that one of their teachers told them that she was walking in the middle school gym and that she walked in and she saw basketballs like bouncing all around the gym, like out of the little rolling cart.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, weird. Like maybe there's some kids here that shouldn't be here. So she goes out and she's like exploring, trying to investigate, you know. And she swore she could hear laughing, but she couldn't really find anything. And so after she makes her lap trying to do her investigating, she goes back to the gym, and all of the basketballs that were out everywhere were back in the cart.
That's crazy.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there was just kids there. But I guess all of this goes to say, a lot of people think that since that house was right there, like the energy all in that area
Carried
just
over?
caught. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you ever see that video on TikTok? Well, actually, it was on YouTube too.
Okay.
I think it was a high school in England, maybe.
Okay.
Where there's nobody in the hallway, and all of a sudden these lockers, they start like moving and then just like fall down like violently. It's really crazy. You need to look it up.
No, I'll have to look that up.
It's pretty creepy.
I believe it though.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I guess it could have been like fake, but like the way it looks, I don't think it was.
Like this was pre-AI. Like
yeah, this is an older video for sure. Yeah, I think it's definitely pre-AI. But speaking of Lubbock houses, or did you have something else?
No, go ahead.
So we'll get into my dad did submit 2 voice stories that we'll play here in a second, because like I mentioned earlier, my dad's family has a lot of haunted history, haunted things, just stories I've heard growing up. We would need a whole episode just on that alone. But there's this house that they lived in, and it was, I don't remember where it is, but it's like the outskirts of Lubbock. I want to say it's close to either Lamesa or Littlefield. I could be wrong, but it's like in between there and Lubbock. And it was this old farmhouse. And right next to that farmhouse, they had a trailer house. It was a little further off, but I think they were like owned by the same people. Well, I know my dad's family used to live in that little small trailer house when they were younger. And he would tell me just all these stories about black figures they'd see in the closet, like cloaked black figures and things they'd see in the hallway, like crazy stuff. Well, the house next to it, they eventually moved into it, this bigger house. I was around by this time. And my parents, this is a really long time ago, but they were separated. And I went to stay with my dad at my mom and papa's house, which is that house. My aunt had gone out. It was my Uncle Martin who was sleeping on the couch. Me and my dad were sleeping on the floor. And I was probably like, I was young, probably like 8 or 9, maybe 10. So we hear somebody knocking at the front door, and my aunt had gone out that night to the bars. And so my uncle opens the door. Nobody's there. There's this like tank, like a water tank or something. I don't know if it was specifically for water. And it was an all dirt field, dirt. It was there, and they saw somebody standing by it. And so we're freaking out trying to figure out who knocked. And at this point, I'm little, so I'm super scared. My other aunt was there, and I had her take me to the restroom because I had to go, and I was scared. So there's a window in the restroom, and we see something out the window. And this is the middle of nowhere, like outskirts of Lubbock. Like that house was so much stuff was creepy about that house. I want to find it, and like maybe we can go there one day.
Ooh, yes, let's do it.
I don't know if anybody's living in it now, but there's so many stories about that house. It's just truly crazy. There was like an outdoor barn that stuff happened in, and like if I'm thinking this is the same house, in the barn, you know how you can crawl up on top of the barns? There's a little space. They found some black magic books and a Ouija board. And that sounds so fake, but these are stories I've heard my whole life, and it's been corroborated by like all my aunts. Like at first I was like, Dad, I think you're just pulling my leg here. But then no, like multiple people in my family have told me about this stuff. So it's pretty crazy.
No, I believe it. Oh my gosh, that's so scary.
Yeah.
It's almost giving Skinwalker, just like it being seen in like different places. I don't know.
Yeah.
But don't get me started on the Skinwalkers. I
would love to go. It's like outskirts, somewhere out there, like find a haunted house and just try that stuff one day. We should do that.
Would you ever, because you can like pay to go stay in a haunted house overnight and stuff. Would you ever want to do something like that?
Probably.
I would do it.
I think it'd be fun. I'd take my camera and all this lighting and stuff. Yeah. That would be awesome.
We'd have to like, cleanse ourselves and sage after probably, but I think it'd be fun. I'm game.
I am ordained, so.
Oh. She can exercise you.
Yeah. I got to order the book, but isn't it crazy? Not to like completely derail our conversations, but so I got ordained I was going to say marry my cousin. I said that once.
This is not Arkansas.
No. I said that once, and my coworkers were like, they looked at me and they're like, "You're going to do what?" And I said, I'm going to marry my cousin. And they're like, "Do you realize what you said?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to marry my cousin. I'm going to perform the ceremony." And they were like, "You just said you were going to marry your cousin." And I was like, "I didn't even think about it." I was like, "No, I'm performing this ceremony." But anyways, that's why I'm ordained, because I performed their ceremony. But I found out you can buy, like, on the place I got ordained, all these books of, like, blessing things and, like...
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Jacob found he was at a garage sale, and it was, like, a vampire slayer kit. Oh, like, yeah. It was old school, like, legit and everything. It was, like, $12,000. It was insane.
That would be so cool to have.
I guess. I feel like that would carry some weird energy with it.
Like those old, what do they call them? Dybbuk boxes?
What?
It's called a Dybbuk box.
Huh?
So I could be completely butchering that name. So it's this box. And it was a big thing on like YouTube a couple years ago.
Okay.
People would buy these Dybbuk boxes and they'd supposedly be cursed.
Okay.
So they'd buy them, they'd have stuff inside of them, supposedly trap spirits or like just things. And they'd put them in their houses, and they'd have things in there. And these idiots would open them and just, like, look at the stuff on there. And, like, there's this one dude, and I don't know if it was fake or not. It could have totally been fake because it was YouTube. But he bought one, opened it, and he had to leave his house because this supposed spirit was just in there the whole time, like, doing crazy stuff. He had cameras in the house, like...
Oh, my God.
You need to look it up. It's called Dybbuk Box. There's multiple ones, and, like, people, I guess...
Okay, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole of this later.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I want to say it's like a Jewish, like, like oriented from like Jewish religion. Oh. I could be wrong about that. I will pop that up.
How do you spell this?
Dybbuk box. Here, let me search it real quick actually, and I'll put it on I'll put it on the... So for people who are wondering, it's Dybbuk. Okay. It's a Dybbuk box. A Dybbuk box is a paranormal antique wine cabinet claimed to be haunted by a Dybbuk. So I guess a concept from Judaism. So That was right.
So Dybbuk is the spirit entity. I'm guessing.
So basically it's a box that you just trap spirits in. It's like a spirit box. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a deep dive later.
Yeah. No, you should watch some of the videos that people do it. It's super... If you like to get creeped out and even, take it with a grain of salt, but it's pretty crazy.
When you were telling me that story, it made me think of a story one of my clients just told me the other day. So she went to college. I believe this was in Ohio, but it was somewhere up north. I don't know exactly where it was. But she was living in her sorority house, and I guess a lot of like spooky things happened in the sorority house. I don't know what was going on in the town or what the situation was. But she said she'd felt like weird things happened before, but one night one of her housemates, I guess you could say, sorority sisters, asked her if she could stay in her room or at her house for some reason. So she was like, okay, sure, whatever. So she went to sleep, and she had like an insane sleep paralysis moment. And this spirit, like she remembers seeing it vividly. Apparently he had like a scary like top hat or something like
what
that.
The heck?
And it freaked her out so bad that when she woke up, she like couldn't sleep the rest of the night. I don't know if she stayed there. She ended up going somewhere else. But when her friend got back, she was like, hey, like, I'm not trying to sound crazy or anything, but have you ever had any weird dreams? And the girl was like, did you see this guy? And described him like to a T, exactly what she had seen in her dream. And they both, I guess, like started crying. Like they were both so like freaked out and scared. And the girl was like, he comes to see me in my dreams like frequently. And the first time it happened, she like, I don't know. She basically freaked out, but
That's crazy. That's like Freddy Krueger.
yeah, but like they both saw the exact same thing in their dream. And then she said in that same house, she was giving some type of speech. Well, I guess during her speech, a book fell off of this bookshelf behind her. And whenever they went to pick it up, it was about like, I don't know if it was like past members of the sorority or whatever, but it was like open to a specific page. I don't know. It just felt like there was a lot of weird energy going on.
That is crazy.
In this house, and that just made me think of it. So I just want to touch
I feel
on
like a lot of sorority houses and like houses like that are sometimes older houses,
Right.
Like, so that's crazy.
Yeah. I also feel like a lot of like scary stuff happens more so in the north than the south. I'm not saying weird, scary stuff doesn't happen down here.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you watch like the ghost hunting shows, a lot of them are up north. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. And I'm wondering if that's because people don't want to come down here, like come around, or if it's just, that's where it happens.
I don't know, but I thought that was interesting because I've always thought that in like shows I've watched. I'm like, it's never like Lubbock, Texas.
But we need to start our own ghost shows over here.
I don't know if I want to carry all that energy with me, to be honest. I'm trying to keep it light over here.
So to kind of like wrap everything up, I'm going to play, and I know we were just talking about, my family stuff. I'm going to play 2 voice memos that my dad sent me about some stories from his younger times, and then one is about a dream like he had. So
Okay.
let me get that going.
Let's hear it, Vince.
Shout out, Dad. And I just want to say, before I play this, I cut the audio so that way it wouldn't be too long, and I kind of put it together.
Okay.
But he is so funny when he sent it to me.
Funny.
I had him send it as videos, and I just extracted the audio because he doesn't know how to record a voice memo. And he was like, "Hello, podcasters." I cut that part out. I probably should have left it in, but it's so funny. He's just he's funny, dude.
He really is.
All right, let's see. Here's the first story.
Hey, good afternoon, podcasters. I had this weird dream one night that we were driving to a convenience store, and I had this vehicle that was given to me by, I believe, my mother-in-law's aunt and uncle, and it was a 72, 74 Monte Carlo, and it was, I don't know, I guess it was almost like an avocado color, right? So anyways, in this dream, these guys approached me at the convenience store, and they asked if the vehicle was for sale, which I didn't have any for sale signs on the vehicle. It was, I would say, it was a classic vehicle, right? And I was like, no, you know. And these guys pulled out a gun and were either gonna try to hurt me and take the vehicle, but at that point in this dream, I woke up because I was just scared, right? So anyways, the following day, didn't think about this, but I pulled up to a convenience store to fuel up the vehicle. And I had 3 guys actually pull up to me and ask me if my vehicle was for sale. And I was in shock because I had dreamt about this situation, and I just shook my head there at the gas station, didn't say a word. They drove off. Now, I don't know, just thought I'd share that with you guys because it's weird. It was a weird thing. It was like somebody trying to tell me something in my dream, but I don't know what you can call that. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So that kind of goes back to what I was asking earlier. Like, if you think dreams like have subliminal messages or something we're supposed to take from them, but that feels like
A premonition.
like call it whatever you want to, but like a God thing. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
Like that could have gone a different way. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna call that. That's crazy though.
That is crazy. Yeah. And I didn't even, he'd never told me that story before. I'd heard a lot of other stuff, but that one was not one that I've heard.
I love all the details you gave, Vince.
Good job, Dad. You should be a storyteller.
Yes.
I will say I had to cut out a bunch of dead air. So maybe work on that a little bit. But
I think you killed it. You did great.
Yeah, okay. She'll gas you up. But here's story number 2.
So I wanted to share a story with you guys. This one here happened when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. So at this time, my parents lived in between 2 towns, which is New Deal and Shallow Water. My godparents had invited my parents to service, to Sunday service. I believe it was Sunday service. I could be wrong. It may have been during the week, like on Wednesday or something. So anyways, they invited us. So we all went to church. And this happened in a town called Plainview, which is in Texas, Plainview, Texas. All 7 of us siblings, my parents, were at church and we're sitting down. The priest is like, okay, if you guys would like a special request prayer, for, just for whether you're feeling sick or, financially or spiritually, come on up and we'll pray for you. And at this time, it was the preacher up there, and it was my aunt up there, which, like I said, she was very, very religious. And so she's up there, and they're just giving, special prayers for people that need it, right? So we're sitting there, and this lady and her daughter are going up there because, she wasn't feeling too good. Don't know the whole details of it. But anyways, so as they're walking up towards the front of the church, they start praying, right? And she just flips like a switch. Crazy, just crazy. She starts having this deep voice, and, they're praying for her, praying over her, and it gets pretty wild. It gets pretty intense. So at that time, the father, the priest, is asking for all the adults to remove the children out of the church and take them to another room, because I believe now at this point in time, now that I'm older and my parents told me what happened, that it was actually an exorcism going on. But yeah, it was a crazy story because apparently they were putting splashing holy water on her. She was saying that it was burning her, and the voices, it was just, from what my mom told me, is that she was very scared for what they had witnessed. It was an exorcism. But yeah, I have several stories, and these are all 100% true. Things happen, and yeah, that was pretty intense. So.
That's
oh
crazy.
my God. Can you imagine?
That is wild. I could not imagine being in church and that happening.
No. Oh my God.
Like, I would freak out. Like,
no, when he said, get the kids out of here, I was like, oh my God, it was serious.
Yeah. Because even if, like, well, to be honest, too, like, let's say that person was, like, the kid was faking it, or, I don't know. That's still traumatizing for children. Like,
yeah, 100%.
If I saw that, that would stick with me my whole life.
Oh,
like,
1000%.
That's crazy. Right. Can you watch exorcism movies, though? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't freak me out.
Yeah, it doesn't freak me out. Like, it freaks me out, but it doesn't, like, not enough to not watch them.
See, exorcism movies don't, like, freak me out. I don't know if this sounds bad, but I think a lot of the time when, like, the demon is getting exorcised out, they tend to be really funny. Like, it cracks me up.
Dude, I don't remember if we talked about this, but the Netflix... Oh, gosh.
I knew you were going to bring this up. The Deliverance?
Yeah, The Deliverance. I don't think we've talked about this yet, have we?
No, I don't think we have. We both watched it, but I don't think we talked about it. Dude.
She says...
Are you going to say it on here? I think it's controversial.
Is it?
I've heard.
Wait, how's it?
I don't know if it's controversial. I saw some people saying that's controversial.
She just says... Okay, well, maybe I won't say it because I don't know. I don't think it...
I just heard the word nappy can be taken very offensively.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But that cracked me up.
That was a crazy movie.
I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, that was funny.
I feel like that movie had a very good lead up, and it could have been super good because I was very invested in the beginning, and then I feel like once that scene started, it was hilarious. Like, it was not scary at all. It just had me cackling.
Well, the true story of that movie is crazy.
Really?
Like, I didn't realize that they were talking about the true, like, what true story until I looked into it a little bit and saw the ending. Yeah, so that really happened in Indiana.
Okay.
And Zach Baggins.
Is it Baggins or Bagans? I don't know.
Baggins?
I was just asking.
Whatever his name is, he bought that house. He made a whole movie off of it, and they destroyed it. It's called Demon House.
I don't know why when you said that made me think of, did you hear that, okay, so Nick Cage bought a house in, I think it was Louisiana, and he kind of fell off the map for a little bit, and then when Long Legs came out, was right after he sold it. But I guess before he bought the house, people told him, like, you're cursed, like, bad things are gonna happen to you. But as soon as he sold it, like, he's already coming out with, like, new movies and doing all these things.
Yeah, there's a whole background to that house, but yeah, it was like he went bankrupt. He wasn't getting jobs. It was just like it brought him really bad luck. Do you remember the name of the house? I know it's like right off, I think it's right off Bourbon. But we visited it. I went on a ghost tour.
Oh, really?
Not inside, just outside. Oh. But I don't know if you can tour. Can you tour the inside?
We need to go visit a haunted house of some sort.
Yeah, I want
it to happen.
Yeah,
y'all stay tuned. It's gonna happen.
But the back to the Deliverance movie or whatever. The reason I believe that one is because multiple people saw this. So we're talking about a cop, a CPS worker, saw this kid like crawling on the wall. Like a nurse from the hospital saw weird things. Like multiple people that were not all connected corroborated and said they saw these things happen.
I believe it.
That's just crazy, dude.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, but I think we could go on for like hours and hours talking about like scary stories and things because it's just so fun to talk about.
And it's just the beginning of October, so this will probably be brought up at some point again. So.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of spooky content coming, lots of potential dressing up coming, maybe some side videos on our TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Follow us. Give us a like, subscribe. We need your help.
5 stars. All the things.
Maybe if we get to a certain point, if we get to like so many likes, we'll do something. I don't know. We'll figure it out when that point comes. But just help us build, and we'll give you something back.
We'll give the people what they want.
what they want. We're people pleasers.
What can we say?
But yeah, so I think we're good for the day unless you had anything else to add on.
No, I think that's it.
Alrighty, well, I'm Jazz.
I'm Tay.
And thanks for watching.
We'll catch you fuckers next week.
Peace.